All right, I'm getting a later start than usual today, and there's a good reason for that. Had boat trouble this morning. Got to the marina nice and early, still dark. Went to take off my transom saver, and the motor wouldn't go up. So I started troubleshooting, discovered that one of the posts on my battery was loose. So I'm guessing when I charged the battery, it didn't actually transfer to the actual battery. So I backed it in. Fortunately, Marina had an outlet with an extension cord. Spent an hour and a half with it on the charger. Motor started right up. So later than usual, but at least we're out here now. It's a beautiful day. Barely blowing. Definitely under 5 knots. I'm on the east bank of Plaquemines Parish again. I've come into this area to see if I can find any speckled trout or redfish deep. Redfishing over here has been really good this year. By now the trout are kind of mostly moving out, so hopefully some reds have taken their place inside those deep holes. Now I'm just kind of on site here and the water doesn't look all that great. Got a slow incoming tide. Hopefully we can find some better water and put some fish in the boat. Let's see, come along with me, let's find out. All right, I'm starting off with this lemonhead matrix shad on a 16th ounce death grip jig head. I got that under a Versamax bolt cork. This area seems to be really shallow, so I'm gonna work my way back into some deeper bayous here where there should be some bends that are holding some fish, but we'll see. First, I'm gonna make a few casts on this point right here with this cork, just to see. Ooh, had a little shake, a little shimmy. What was that, a small trout maybe? So the bad thing about boat trouble is it kind of wrecks your peace of mind. You know, I charged that battery for about 90 minutes, but was that enough? How many cranks will I get today? Of course, the more I run, the more the battery will charge with the motor, but it's got me questioning it enough that I'm not using my electronics, except when the motor's running. So I don't want to have that drain on the battery. So I'm fishing a little bit blind as far as depth. It's times like this, though, I'm very grateful I'm a CTO member. Worst comes to worst, and I have to get towed in. At least it won't cost me an arm and a leg. All right, we're fishing into the wind and the tide, not exactly cork friendly, so let's switch to a matrix shad on a jig head. Just straight jig it. This is a green hornet on a 3/8 ounce death grip jig head. There are some bends up ahead in this bayou, so I'm hoping there's some deep water there. I'll be holding some fish. I'd say the water is fishable. Clarity, I can see my bait maybe 6 or 8 inches down. When I was here the other day, not right here, but in this general area, east bank of Plaquemines Parish, the water was terrible. Absolute filth. Oh, that was a little hit. What was that? A little something. Kind of felt like a little trout, but who knows? Another hit. It's got to be some small trout. It's got to be what that is. That was a really good one. I thought for sure that dude was hooked up. Seeing lots of bait in here, very good sign. Also seeing a lot of alligators. Hopefully we won't hook any of those. Not a great tidal range today, just about 0.6. Tide is out and it's rising. Hoping some of this bait collects in those deep bends, even with the tide not screaming. You might catch a trout or two there, but most of the trout by now have moved outside. Still got some inside, certainly. They move outside every year at this time to spawn. And they filter back in beginning about mid-August or so. They've usually completed that migration by the end of October. That's a big gator right there. Yeah, that's a big old boy. Completely unafraid of me. Look at him. It's unusual. Usually go down by now, particularly those big ones. They're a lot smarter than the small ones, the young dumb ones. Well, there he goes. Jumped out of my skin. Oh! Oh, shoot. No, that is a fish, man. I thought I got hung on something. It is a fish. Oh, you know what? It may be a gator. I hope not. I hope not. No, now I think it's a redfish. Pretty sure it's a red. All right. Man, I set the hook and it did not budge. I don't think he's a small red. Definitely acting redfish like, for sure. It was so weird because when he first bit, like, it was no doubt about it hit. I set the hook and it didn't budge. I'm like, oh, great, snag. And then it started running. He's big enough that he just got to tire himself out. It's the only way this ends. Or if he breaks the line. All right, I see my leader. He's getting close. Nope, there he goes again. I'll be curious to see how big this fish is. He's got a ton of stamina. That's for sure. Oh, that's a big old boy. Goodness. That's a big red. That's a big bull. That's a fish that should be outside. Oh, it's a black drum. That's why. It's a big old drum. Yeah, that's a giant black drum. Now, these are closely related to redfish, and they taste really comparable. Now, you wouldn't ever want to eat one this size. Just kind of like you wouldn't want to eat a redfish this size either. I mean, they're just not very good. Really fishy. Now, you get a juvenile black drum, one that's around 16 to 20 inches, and they're very tasty, really good. This dude just will not give up. He just won't give up. I got to get him to the back of the boat so I can net him, but I got to wait till he's exhausted. Good Lord, he's a big old pig. I know, dude. Just don't wear yourself out. Let me net you. You'll recover a lot quicker. You're just spraying water everywhere. Yeah, I know. I know, you don't want to give up. I don't blame you. You're a feisty thing. Come on, dude. Don't break my net. Oh, goodness, he won't even fit in the net. Ah, come on, dude. Oh, goodness, that's a big old giant. Look at this fish. All right, look at this gorilla. Look at this guy. Whew! That is a big old giant black drum. All right, let's get that bait out of his mouth. We're gonna get him back, send him on his way. There we go. Look at this boy. Yeah. All right, we're just gonna splash him in. It's really our only option. Hopefully it wakes him up. If not, we'll go retrieve him and try and put some light back into him. Oh, good Lord. That was a giant. That's one of the biggest black drum I've ever caught. Whew. Wore me out. All right, well, that was fun. Good start to the day. Whew, I gotta catch my breath. A lot of times with those really big fish, if you don't keep them out of the water long, you can just splash them back into the water and it kind of wakes them up and they take off. Particularly when it's not scorching hot. When it's really hot, you gotta take some time to revive them. But water temps are still low 80s. I mean, that's a legit big game fish caught on inshore gear, really bass gear. Just awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, I felt my line after that black drum and it felt fine, but obviously it was nicked. I just broke off. Gotta retie. All right, while I was retying, I went ahead and made a change to my favorite deep water color, Limbo Slice Matrix Shad. I feel like this color shows up really well at depth. I've had great success with it, fishing this pattern. Oh, there's a fish through in his mouth. What are you, a trout? I think you are a trout. He hit before I engaged the reel. Literally, I engaged the reel and he was on. Yep, trout. Are you 13 inches, bro? I don't know. You're gonna be close, yo. Croaking male. Croaking male. You're gonna be spawning soon, buddy. It'll be a big day for you. I don't think you're legal. He is not legal. 12 inches. He would have been legal before we changed the limits. Oh, there we go. What the heck are you? That's not a little undersized trout. Oh, I just saw a shrimp jump. This might be a red. Oh, another shrimp. Look at that. All right, we got to stay here. There's got to be a red or a foul hook trout. I'm thinking redfish. Hopefully we get the same. Another black drum. At least this one's a keeper. Look at that. We land him, we will be eating him. All right, yes. Very happy to catch him. Dude, you're going crazy. You okay? Settle down. We caught your daddy just a little ways up the bayou. Man, you took it deep. You were hungry. Now, if you don't do a lot of fishing in the South Louisiana marsh, this is related. I mean, it's the exact same fish as a giant one we caught, exact same species. These are very tasty. That big one, terrible. But we're gonna take him home. Let's see how big he is. I'm saying he's about 19. Yeah, he's exactly 19. Perfect. Well, I didn't have catching 2 black drum on my bingo card for the day. I just saw another shrimp pop. That's crazy. In this deep water, that's awesome. Oh, that's something. That feels like a speck. Yep, that's a speck. Man, you're also too small. Another 12-incher. Yeah. There you go, buddy. Oh, you made me unhook you, huh? Pretty fish, just not big. That's what happens this time of year. You get those little ones left over. All the big ones have moved out. Not all of them. Hopefully we'll run across a couple. Oh, there's another one. They're not big, but they're super fun. Look at that shrimp. There's a bunch of shrimp in here. We'll go that way? We'll go that way. I'm fine with that. You're gonna hit the tape. I don't think you're legal. I don't think you're legal, but I've been wrong before. Look at the golden tips on this fish. Golden fins, golden edges, beautiful. Now he's 12 and a half. He's closer than the last one. Not close enough though. There's a bunch of them down there. I'm just throwing right to that bend. Obviously there's some deep water there. And these fish are stacked up. Hopefully there's some, oh, another one. Hopefully there's some reds there as well. Or some keeper trout. It doesn't feel big. If I had a nickel for every time I've heard that. Dude, you're gonna make me check the tape, aren't you? I know you're not legal, but we're gonna check. We are gonna check. 12 and a half. Louisiana changed the minimum size limit on speckled trout back in November from 12 inches to 13 inches. So all these fish, I could have harvested last year, but can't harvest them now. And I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. Give those fish a chance to spawn, make some babies. Oh, goodness. Oh, flossing. Oh, and another one hit it. Oh, and another one hit it. There's a bunch of fish right here. Unfortunately, they're not giants. They were fired up though. Oh, there he is. It's just automatic. I think you might make the cut. Come on, dude. I'm pulling for you. I'm pulling for you. I think you're going to make the cut. Oh, of course. Of course. I landed all the other ones and lost him. Well, what you going to do? He earned it. Going crazy. Oh, right away. Wow. There's a bazillion fish down there. And here comes a stupid gator. Don't you scare off my fish, dude. There's one. Are you as big as the one I just lost? I hope. I don't know. You don't feel like it. You are staying down, though. There's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance? Yeah, you're big enough. All right, there we go. That's why we're keeping at it. That's why you keep at it. That's about a 14-incher. He's definitely going to take a boat ride home. Yeah, he's 13 3/4, so he's a good one. The date of today is May 20th. I guess there's still some specks inside, some keepers. I usually give this pattern until about June 1st, but it does get... Oh, goodness. Oh, there he is. Good hit. These holes do get a whole lot of small fish in them as you get closer to June 1st. 50-50, I don't know. 50-50. If he's 13, he's not much over. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think he is 13. Good thing he got in the boat. All right. Yeah, he's 13 1/8. Not big, but big enough. These shrimp are obviously just ambushing. These fish are obviously just ambushing that shrimp that's coming around that point. Usually this is a bait fish pattern, croakers. But I don't know if there's really a... Oh, goodness. Shoot, I missed him. I don't know if there's really a ledge there or what. I don't know what's going on there. There's obviously some fish. There he is. Man, he was close. Ooh, 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 that's a real good trout. That's a real good trout. He was close to the boat. That's about a 16-incher, maybe 17. Yes, that's a good one. Yeah, I'm gonna say 16 inches. He will not have to hit the tape. Good fish. All right. This limbo slice is just the best color for this pattern. Goodness. Oh, shoot, he spit it. Oh, there's a lot of fish right here, right in front of the boat. That's why you really got to check all over in these bends. I wouldn't think that would be like the prime zone, but obviously it is. Oh, goodness. Dude, you're not even that big. And you ate your Wheaties, didn't you? Oh, he's foul hooked. That's why he felt so nice. Short, stubby fish. I don't think he's legal. Probably should have measured him, but I don't think he is. Super fun bite. Nothing like feeling a trout hit a matrix shad. They just tattoo it. They are clearly in a frenzy. Every fish tries to get to the bait before his buddy can. Look at that shrimp. Another one going skipping across the surface. Oh, what is that? Is that a foul hook trout? Is that our redfish? Foul hook trout. Hooked him in the tail. Not really the tail, kind of the midsection. Sorry, buddy. Hope it didn't hurt too bad. All right, they have destroyed my limbo slice, unfortunately, because this is the last one. I might be able to get a few more fish out of it, but it's torn to shreds. I'll change the entry point of that hook. Let's see what happens. I keep 2 tackle boxes of matrix shads, and both of them are empty. This is the last one. Man, he felt good initially, but I'm not sure he's big enough. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking 12 3/4. What you think? Very, very spotty fish. Super spotty. I don't think he's gonna make it. I think he's just barely under. Yeah, he's 12 1/2. I was big eyeing him. Oh, goodness. That's gotta be a foul hooked one. He's fighting weird. Either a foul hooked or a red, or another black drum. The only way he's a 12-inch trout is if he's foul hooked. Oh no. Gaff top. Saltwater catfish. In a pinch on a slow day, you can eat these. They're actually not bad. The worst thing about them is they leave a slime trail on your line that you got to get off. It's always a tough decision when you're on a bite like this. It's a lot of fun, obviously. Oh, goodness. Threw in his mouth. But you're not putting a lot of meat in the box. I think he might make it. Do you leave this shore action and go look for some bigger fish? Or you just keep catching them? Dude, I think you're 12 3/4 as well. It's almost like y'all know. Last year you would have been 11 3/4. He is 12 3/4. All right, I got some good news. I dug up one more limbo slice. I'm not gonna put it on yet though. I'm gonna go with this lemon head. Let's see if they'll hit that. I don't want to waste that limbo slice on these little trout. Let's see if it makes a difference. I think it probably will not, as fired up as these fish are. I think you could bait up a hot dog and they'd hit it. Yep. Well, oh, another one hit it. Right under the boat. Going crazy. Yep, I think that was a keeper too. They don't care about color right now. Couldn't care less. Just looking for the next thing coming around that point. Goodness. Man, when they hit, they feel so big. And they come up to reveal they're not. Every one is between 12 and 13. Crazy. You know what? I'm gonna throw that ATV crankbait. There are some fish up top, even though I suspect that water's pretty deep. So maybe we can lure a strike from a bigger fish. This one should weed out some of those small ones. Oh, there he is. Are you a big one? Or are you the same size? Nope, you're the same size. $12 3/4. Another shrimp. Something smacked a shrimp on the surface. Oh, all right. That might be a keeper if we get him in. Nope. Same fish, same size. Clearly, that's just what's there. All right, one more cast with the ATV. If we don't get a keeper, I think we're gonna mosey. The hunt for redfish will continue. Oh, look at that. Oh, came off. That was actually a good one. You know what that means? We gotta do it again. How big are you? Nope, you're small. I mean, not small, between 12 and 13, just not big enough to take home. All right, as awesome as this action is, I'm gonna move on, try and find some redfish or bigger trout. I might go on the other side of here and see if changing the angle helps. I doubt it will. Just don't think there's a whole lot of big fish in right now. I literally am avoiding making casts because I know what I'm gonna catch. Wait till I get on the other side and cast back against this current. All right, new angle, same results. I figured that. 12 and a half. We gotta move on. Awesome to see all those little trout in here. Some of those will stay inside. Most of them will move out a little bit later in the summer. Speckled trout spawn when they're about 12 inches. The male's even smaller. So they're gonna head out. They'll leave all the juveniles inside. You can still catch fish in that pattern throughout the summer. They're just not big at all. You get a million bites, very few hookups. But those fish will grow all summer. They'll feast on brown shrimp and then white shrimp. They'll grow all summer. And by the fall, they'll be legal sized. Really surprised we haven't caught a red yet. Really surprised. Well, all those shrimp that were there, you'd have thought there'd been some redfish. That's why that black drum was there, certainly. And probably that big black drum we caught was in there eating those little trout. All right, I've reached the end of this bayou, so I'm gonna make a run. That is assuming my motor starts. Let's all say a little prayer. It's another bayou back over that way that I want to head to. Hopefully I can get to it. We'll see. We'll know in a minute. All right, since I'm back in search mode, I've threaded on this last limbo slice just because I got so much confidence in it. Actually, the water in this bayou looks a lot better than what we left. I'm not sure how deep it is in here. It was 4 feet at the mouth before I turned off my depth finder. Conserve my battery. But based on how long it's taken this bait to get down, I'm guessing the middle of this bayou is about 6 feet or so. And you see it's just a little ditch. It's not very big at all. 3 alligators in sight at the moment. A nice little intersection, a little 3-way. Check this out for a minute. Oh, there we go. There we go. I think it's another speck. We can't get out of the trout. I don't know. Yeah, I think you're a keeper. All right, I think you are. Just a hair bigger than the fish we left. I'm pretty sure this is 13 inches. We're gonna check though. He sure is. Barely, but he's 13. Unable to get out of the trout. That's a good problem to have. There's one. You gonna make the cut too? You're gonna be close. Nope, I don't think you are, buddy. I don't know. You're bigger than I thought. But I don't think you're big enough. I don't think. 12 and a half. There's another one. Man, there's as many fish here as what we left. And they're like rubber stamps of what we left. I don't know, you're a keeper, I think. Maybe. Maybe. You're gonna visit my ruler. This fish is so close, but I'm not gonna risk it. Not worth it. Hasn't come up. Doesn't feel too big though. Man, this is just hard to believe. All these 12.5-inch fish. All right, come on, dude. This one's been feasting. He's got a lot in his belly. Very fat. Just not long enough. I wonder what would have been in these areas a month ago. Well, you never know because there weren't any shrimp a month ago, so who knows? That definitely seems to be what they're eating. Oh man, that was a good hit. Hopefully you're swimming at me because you don't feel big. I can't believe it's the exact same size fish. Exact same size. Found 2 spectacular trout bites today, and both from undersized schools. You're going kind of crazy. Are you legal? I think you are. I think you're a big old legal fish. You know, 13 1/8. Now he's bigger than that. 13 1/2, I bet. Look at that. Veritable giant. Let's see if you're coming home, buddy. Heck yeah, 13 1/2. See, once again, this is not where I would think the fish would be. I started casting right here. This current moving into here. That's where I would think those fish would ambush bait. But I made a few casts there, I caught nothing. Just happened to make a cast out here and got hit right away. So, I don't know, they are where they are. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. What are you? What are you? Well, I know what you are. Or you're legal. Doesn't matter, does it? You probably were. Oh, another one. Probably a keeper. Man, we've lost some fish. A lot of mouth hook fish, lip hooked, just barely hooked. That's kind of how they're hitting. They're just trying to kill it. I get 4 or 5 hits every cast. Like that. I'll let them come off before I can even see them. Like that one. See, came off. They're just lip hooked. It's nice when they take it deep in their gullet. All these fish are just barely hooked. When I get them in, it's just their lips are torn up. I think that's probably a keeper. Nope, he's not. No, he's not. Well, I tell you what, he might be. I don't think. I think he's 12 7/8. Yep, you're not gonna keep. I know you're not. Man, your eyes all torn up. No, he's not legal. All right, we're gonna have to leave another red hot trout bite. Just too many little fish. Well, for the second time today, I'm leaving an absolutely beautiful spot that's loaded with speckled trout. I mean, every cast action, but the fish just aren't big enough. Super fun to catch them, no doubt about it. But I'm gonna go see what else I can find. Make a big move. I probably won't find water anywhere near this good again today. But I'm just gonna roll the dice, see if I can find some ledges that have some bigger trout perhaps, or some redfish. I mean, I keep doing this till my arms fall off, but I'm gonna see what else I can find. All right, I've come into a different bayou, much bigger bayou with much worse water. I mean, bad water. But you got some big bends in this bayou, and hopefully we'll hold some fish. I definitely don't like this water clarity, that's for sure. All right, this is hopeless. This water is just garbage. I'm gonna make a big run somewhere else. See what else we can find. All right, came to a new area. This water doesn't look all that great either. Definitely better than what we just left, but not nearly as good as where we started. Real sharp bend right here with a lot of mixing water. We're gonna see if we can find any reds or specks. Ooh, that was a good bite. All right, that's a good sign. That was a real good bite. I missed him, but probably a 12.5-inch speck. Theme of the day. Well, there's something. Look at that, look at that. What a shock to see this. 12.5-inch speckled trout. Wow. They're just everywhere. They're just everywhere. I know you're not legal. I'm not even gonna measure you. But you're nice to see. Well, that might be a keeper or a foul hook fish. Definitely a foul hook fish. It still might be a keeper though. We'll see. Nope, I don't think so. We'll check, but I'm pretty sure he's not. Nope. There are bends like this all over this marsh on the east side of the river. There's a lot more depth on this side of the river than on the west side. And this is a pattern that occurs every spring. Specks move into these deep bends to ambush bait. Usually it's bait fish, usually it's croakers, but today it seems to be shrimp. And for whatever reason, the big fish are not here. Just don't seem to be. Either they've all moved outside or they're on their way outside. They're up in the bays and lakes eating shrimp. I mean, it's just the same deal here. I'm getting multiple bites every cast. Just tagged. Losing a lot of fish. Not hooking up on a lot of fish. Like swings and misses just like that. It's just crazy. Real similar to what we found earlier today. It's fun, no doubt. It's a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. And you know, a few of the fish are keepers. Barely over that 13-inch line. I think we caught one that was, what, 14 or 15. Everything else is just barely over 13. Mostly under 13. And the really good news is you don't need live shrimp to do this. Goodness. Actually, it would be a big hindrance. It'd be definitely a big expense. Oh, what is that? That's something foul hooked, I'm betting. Yep, foul hook trout. Always, always, always you foul hook a lot of fish doing this. They come and check out the bait and decide to just slap it with their tail or turn away the last minute, whatever. Hit it and spit it, and you just hook them in the body. I wish this one were legal, but I don't think he is. Nah, he's too small, sadly. Well, there's one. You gonna make the cut? Don't feel like it. You do not feel like it. Nope. You would make last year's cut. Finally got one. I mean, it's not terribly deep, but it's in the thick part of its mouth. So many of the fish I've gotten in today have just been lip hooked, just like that. Just barely hooked. That's why so many of them are throwing it. The water here is oh goodness, I got stroked. The water here is 16 feet deep, and yet there's still fish pushing shrimp to the surface. Now, obviously, it's not big trout. Man, just crazy how many bites I'm getting. And you've seen, I mean, we've covered water today, fished entirely different areas, and have found the exact same thing. There's just a ton of trout in the marsh, for sure. Just find these bends and these bayous with some deep water. It's almost a guarantee. And again, you have to pick through some fish, but it's a lot of fun. It's a whole lot more fun than coming out here and catching nothing, that's for sure. Another one. Glad to lose him because he was about 12 inches. Now, in general terms, I definitely have better success doing this on a rising tide. Why that is, I don't know. I don't really know. You would think it wouldn't matter. I've certainly caught them on a falling tide, no question, but it's always better on the rise. The good news is this time of year, during the day, almost always we have a rising tide on this side of the river. Edges of the day, you might have the remnant of a fall or the beginning of a fall, but by and large, you're gonna have a rising tide. Unless you have like a really strong west wind that just blows the water out. That could shuffle the deck and change things. But generally, you get that southeasterly flow like we have typically this time of year, like we certainly have today, you're gonna have a rising tide. Now, I like braided line for doing this. I'm fishing 30-pound braid currently. That, without question, has cost me fish today because it just doesn't have any stretch, doesn't have any give, and these fish are just lip hooking the baits, and so they're just tearing free. I'd be doing better if I had mono, for sure. Now, the disadvantage to mono, of course, is it's a whole lot spongier, so you don't feel the bites as well, and when you do, it just takes longer for the energy of your hook set to reach your bait. So by that time, I mean, these fish, you can tell, they're like that, they're just hitting and spitting right away, hitting and spitting, all in one motion. And some of them are not even hitting the bait with their mouths, they're just slapping it with their tails. I've gotten some hits today, a whole bunch of them, where it's like, absolutely, I'm hooked up and set the hook and there's nothing there, or set the hook and have him hooked up for a second or two and it just pulls free. You know, that's another thing. This time of year, the water temp, it's in the low 80s. So these fish are really, really aggressive. Once you hook them, they go bananas. You know, you hook a fish in January when water temps are upper 50s, they just don't have a whole lot of oomph. They just kind of let you reel them in. Definitely not true this time of year. All right, there we go. Look at that, perfect. That shows you why these fish are here. Croakers that size. Look at that guy. All right, I'm gonna put him just for kicks. I've got this double drop rig I used for catfish the other day. All right, let's see if anything will hit that. You know, it's what they're feeding on. Something just smoked it. I don't think he took it, but he tapped it. Might have gotten my croaker. Nope, he's still there. He's probably scaled. All right, this isn't really my style of fishing. Just one more, let's see what happens. Just for kicks. Oh, that's something. He got my croaker. Oh well, there we go. But that shows you what those fish are in here feeding on. Obviously more than just shrimp. I'm gonna change up my angle here, go to the other side and throw back against the current, just to see if it changes up the size of the fish. I doubt it will, but that has worked before. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot longer to fish, so I'm gonna have to call it pretty soon. But I'd love to find some consistent keeper fish. If I was a betting man, I'd say it's a throwback. Don't mean to be pessimistic, but just playing the odds. Kind of feels foul hooked. Feels very foul hooked. Or catfishy. No, he's foul hooked. Foul hook trout. Actually, it's a keeper. Well, what do you know? Good thing, because look at his guts. Pretty sure he's a keeper, but I am gonna check. Yep, 13.5. All right, what are you? See if we get you. You going, oh, that's a good trout. Oh, I hope we don't lose him, because that's a good one. Hope we don't lose him, because he's going bananas. Come on, dude. Come on, dude. I'm not going to horse you. Oh, he's barely hooked. We got him though. All right, there we go. There's still some big ones inside. Look at that. Look at this fish. All right. See, barely lip hooked. We just happened to get him because this hook was all twisted and just couldn't come out. They're just not attacking the baits. I mean, they're attacking the heck out of the baits. They're just not engorging. That's about a 16-inch fish. That's a real pretty trout. So basically my cadence is just to cast, let the bait fall. Oh, shoot. And then just hop it. And they almost are always hitting when that bait's falling. So you got to be ready to set the hook. And I'll tell you this, a few times today, the bite has gotten so intense that I just set the hook in anticipation of a strike, if that makes sense. I would hop it and figure they're going to bite it as soon as it started falling, so I'd immediately follow with a hook set. It's just so hard to leave. I should leave. It's just hard. You're gonna bite every cast. And you know, I don't really target trout a whole lot in the summer. I like marsh fishing, and these trout get out in these big bays this time of year. Big bays and sounds, and the open Gulf. So I target other fish. Redfish, bass, flounder. Really mostly redfish and bass. Whatever I can find inside. Do a lot of crabbing, catfish, but I love catching speckled trout, love it. I love catching all fish. Man, I don't know, I probably caught 100 of these things today. Just absolutely incredible action. And what's really cool is I didn't just happen to luck into one spot that was holding a few fish. Everywhere I went, pretty much, I found feeding speckled trout. Now, of course, they were little, had to work through them. But you know, it's a really fun way to fish them. Deep jigging, you get those hard taps, missed a whole lot of fish. Lost a bunch that I had hooked. Coming up to the top, throwing the baits. You know, but that's part of the deal this time of year, and you just got to accept it. Still a whole lot of fun. Obviously, I wish the fish had been a little bit bigger, but still got a bunch in the box and had an absolute blast. This will go on for at least another couple of weeks. Typically, I fish them till about June 1st, but I've certainly seen it go till about June 15th. You know, we're getting close to that time frame now, but you still got some time to get this. If you want to do it, still got some time to do this. But I'm gonna head on in, absolute blast of a day. Get you some of those limbo slice matrix shads. Get you some of those 3/8 ounce depth grip jig heads. Both of those are critical for this. Other than that, just go find some bends and some deep bayous. Try and fish a rising tide, not a falling tide. Try and fish a rising tide if you can, and you will find some fish. Man, it's a virtual guarantee. All right, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I definitely had a blast putting it together. Please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the Marshman Masson channel on YouTube. And until next time, if we don't see you in the marsh, we'll see you right here on Marshman Masson. And I don't know what we'll be doing next time. Hopefully catching half as many fish as we caught today.